Who decides how much tuition you pay?
What's the governing council?
Do the student unions actually do anything?
UofT has a ton of governance bodies that decide the courses you'll take, the fees you'll pay, and the services that you may or may not get.
There are three main buckets of governing structures at UofT: the university, the student unions, and the federated colleges.
The university has a whole system of governing bodies and councils that follow this absolutely vomit-worthy flowchart. As you can see, UTM and UTSC have their own councils and committees, but all major decisions for the three campuses tend to go through the governing council, known as the GC for short.
UofT used to have a Senate and a Board of Directors, but in 1971, they merged into the GC. It currently has 50 members on council, 8 of which are elected students.
The GC decides whether to approve the university's budget each year. For context, UofT's 2023 to 2024 budget expected $3.36 billion in revenue, so I wouldn't say it's a nothing decision. The GC also has the final say on reviews of major policies, including the policy on sexual violence and sexual harassment, and the supported leaves policy, formerly known as UMLAP. These reviews tend to happen every 3 years.
Although the GC makes these big final calls, much of the nitty-gritty decision-making actually happens in these smaller boards and committees. They also end up deciding your residence rates, your incidental fees, and your meal plan costs.
Each board or council tends to meet 6 times a year for a few hours each time.
Most of these boards and committees actually have seats designated for students, professors, and staff. Elections happen each year at the beginning of the winter semester. Even if you don't sit on any of the bodies, any UofT student can attend these meetings.
Student unions feel like the bane of my existence right now.
And you would feel safe if you had covered the elections of 4 of them.
But they actually have a fair bit of power. They provide supplementary healthcare coverage, many of them provide services such as tax filing and food banks, and they also run events. They also advocate for policies in meetings with the university and through protests.
UofT has 5 student unions. Each has an executive committee with a president and vice president that oversee the day-to-day operations of the union, as well as a board of directors that approves the union's budget and policies.
The University of Toronto Students' Union represents all full-time undergraduate students in all faculties at UTSG. Founded in 1901, the current president is Elizabeth Sharkman, who served as an associate news editor at the Varsity in the 2021 to 2022 school year.
The University of Toronto Graduate Student Union, also known as the UTSU, represents graduate students across 3 campuses. They have both a board of directors, but also a general assembly, which makes recommendations to the board of directors and talks about university affairs.
The Scarborough Campus Student Union, or SCSU, represents all undergraduate students at UTSC. Fun fact, they run a restaurant called 1265 Bistro that serves a poutine bar, halal food, and of course, day drinking.
The University of Toronto Mississauga Students' Union represents, you guessed it, all students at UTM. UTMSU split from UTSU fully in 2019, pretty recent considering UTMSU was founded in 1967.
And last but not least, the Association of Part-Time University Students, or APUS for short. The varsity doesn't report on it quite as much, but it represents all part-time students across 3 campuses and got it started in 1968.
Each student union hosts at least one general meeting each year where students can vote on important changes to the unions and rifle through the union's finances.
If you're only interested in UTM and UTSC, you can tune out here because we've gotten to the federated colleges.
Each undergraduate student enrolled in the Faculty of Arts and Science belongs to one of 7 colleges that serve as social spheres and operate as residences.
Out of these 7, 3 colleges act semi-independently. They are the University of Trinity College, the University of St. Michael's College, and Victoria University, or better known as Trin Vic and St. Mike's.
These 3 federated colleges each have their own endowments, have their own governing bodies, and operate their own food services and residences. Many of them also have student seats designated on their governing bodies.
This doesn't even include the Toronto School of Theology, a collection of independent theological schools, some of which operate within the federated colleges.
I also haven't mentioned college or faculty-specific governing bodies, such as the Arts and Science Student Union, the Victoria University Students Administrative Council, and the Engineering Society. But those are topics for another day. Too much governance, too little time.